listening to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. I'm your Tuesday-Thursday show host, Skylar Angus Barker. We've got a great show coming up with some information about how Richard Berger worked with NASA engineers testing Saturn rockets, and Justin Glowacki reporting on Mississippi animal abandonment laws. And don't touch the dial because Erica Smith and Lauren Street will share some things that you don't want to miss. You're listening to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mississippi Beverages. Mississippi Beverages provides water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mississippi Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mississippi Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online. Sponsorship comes from American Graphics. Located at 8 Commercial Warehouse Drive in Hattiesburg, American Graphics provides custom screen printing and embroidery. They can be reached by phone at 601-602-2277. And the website is goamericangraphics.com. American Graphics, printing at its finest.
Welcome back to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. In USM campus news, Eaglepalooza happening March 28th in downtown Hattiesburg. You heard that right. Eaglepalooza is back on Friday, March 28th at 7 o'clock p.m. The last time Eaglepalooza happened was 2019, so this event is incredibly special. Southern Miss President Dr. Joe Paul has this to say about the event. Eaglepalooza has always been a cornerstone of the Southern Miss spirit. Bringing this event back underscores our commitment to fostering a vibrant student life experience, both on campus and throughout our community. Along with our USM president, we had our mayor, Toby Barker, share some words. Strengthening the student experience showcases the excitement of both Southern Miss and Hattiesburg. I commend the Student Government Association, the Division of Student Affairs, and Dr. Joe Paul for doing what it takes to bring back Eaglepalooza back to downtown Hattiesburg. When coupled with HubFest, Hattiesburgers can look forward to a fun weekend that highlights all our city has to offer. In Hattiesburg news, Ole Miss Mississippi State receives bids to 2025 NCAA tournament. Ole Miss Rebels and Mississippi State Bulldogs are officially tournament bound. WDAM reported on this by stating, Ole Miss earns the number 6 seed in the South region and faces the winner of Wednesday's play-in game between San Diego State and North Carolina on Friday. Meanwhile, the Bulldogs begin the tournament as the East region's number 8 seed. Their first matchup comes against number 9 Baylor on Friday. In Mississippi news, 3 fatalities reported in Walthall County. Saturday's violent storms have taken several lives, including a 7-year-old who lived in Walthall County. Walthall County Sheriff Kyle Breland has this to say. Fatalities included 2 adults and a 7-year-old who were all in the same house on Bethlehem Loop when the storm came through. There were multiple injuries, numerous destroyed homes, and trees blocking roadways. In some cases, houses collapsed, and the first responders had to dig out victims from under the debris. A small church was also damaged, with its roof ripped off of the frame. Thoughts and prayers go out to the victims as well as the families affected by the storm. In national news, Trump claims Biden's pardons for January 6th committee are void because he used an auto pen. President Donald Trump has produced another claim about President Biden's pardons for members of the House Select Committee that investigated the January 6, 2021 attacks on the Capitol. This claim was that those pardons are invalid because, quote, he didn't use a real pen. Both President Biden and President Barack Obama have both used an auto pen device to sign official documents. This practice is legally binding, according to the commission by President George W. Bush. President Biden had this to say about weighing these pardons. I cannot in good conscience do nothing. Even when individuals have done nothing wrong and in fact have done the right thing and will ultimately be exonerated, the mere fact of being investigated or prosecuted can irreparably damage reputations and finances. We'll be right back with sports and weather after a word from our sponsors.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mississippi Beverages. Mississippi Beverages provides water, water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mississippi Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mississippi Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online.
Melissa from Michigan. I work an extra part-time job serving lunch at my child's school, but I still can't afford to put food on our table.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. Now for some sports. Men's tennis falls to Louisiana in SBC opener. Southern Miss opened Sunbelt Conference play with a 4-0 loss to Louisiana on Saturday at the Southern Miss tennis courts. Our Golden Eagles fought hard, however, they were unable to beat the Raging Cajuns. Next time, Eagles. Women's golf wraps up day one at Bama Beach Bash. Our Golden Eagles women's golf team has ended the opening day at the Bama Beach Bash in 7th place after firing a .319 as a team. Let's go, Eagles. New season's tickets order for 2025 football season now available. You heard that right. There are new season tickets for the 2025 home football schedule are officially on sale. There are 7 thrilling home games to take place, and you won't want to miss a single thing. Southern Miss first-year head coach Charles Huff has this to say. We need all of our fans to buy season tickets. Everyone at the university has done their part to put this program back on top. We know we have a huge challenge ahead of us in the football building, but we need you to be in the stadium. To keep up with all the Golden Eagles sports activities, head on over to southernmiss.com. Now for your weather. We're going to have some mostly sunny skies today with the highs in the upper 70s to the lows in the mid 50s. It is currently 72 degrees with our precipitation at 0%, our humidity at 31%, and our wind at 10 miles per hour. Up next, we have Richard Berger talking about how he worked with NASA engineers testing Saturn rockets. Check it out.
This is Mississippi Moments, produced by the Center for Oral History and Cultural Heritage at the University of Southern Mississippi and supported by the Mississippi Humanities Council. I'm Bill Ellison. As a computer programmer, Richard Berger worked with NASA engineers testing Saturn rockets. He remembers his first assignment and an eccentric engineer named Charlie Parker.
My first assignment with NASA was to work with an engineer named Charlie Parker. At this time, in the space program, when they got ready to fire a missile from the Cape or anywhere or test them, they had to put the fuel in a truck and they bagged it up and loaded the fuel. And it might take 100 trucks to get that engine, get the tank full. So NASA came up with a plan to have a piping system that will run from the tanks directly into the engines, to load these tanks. So the Mississippi Test Facility was the first one to use it. And so Charlie Parker and I worked along with him, and he was a very unique guy. We have lunch. We sitting there eating a sandwich, and he'd take a bite with one hand and take a puff off his pipe with the other hand. He was in his own world, but he was smart, very intelligent. And a lot of these things I learned from him, and I worked with other engineers,
Bill Ellison hosts Voices of Our People World War II, a new podcast from Mississippi Moments, sponsored by the Mississippi Humanities Council. That's Voices of Our People World War II, wherever you get your podcasts.
That was Richard Berger. Coming up, we've got some special guests that you don't want to miss.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mississippi Beverages. Mississippi Beverages provides water, water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mississippi Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mississippi Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer.
In response to attacks against Asian Americans, Maddie Park raised over $250,000 to donate cab rides to the Asian community.
There is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
Support the Asian community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. Now, please give a warm Golden Eagle welcome to Erica Smith and Lauren Streets. Hey, how are you both doing?
Hey, Skylar, how are you? Thank you so much for having us today.
Yeah, we're so glad to be here.
Awesome, amazing. So I do want to do something for our audience real quick before we're able to break down into this interview, that this interview will include topics about child abuse. This may include physical abuse or sexual abuse. So if this type of topic is not good for you, this might be a good way to step away from the radio or step away from your phone right now. But I'm so glad to have both of you on talking about such a powerful topic indeed. For anyone who doesn't know you, can you both tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Sure. My name is Erica Smith, and I reside here in Hattiesburg with my husband, Trent Smith. And he and I actually we are both Southern Miss alumni, Southern Miss grads, and we have actually lived in Birmingham the past 10 years, but decided it was time to move back to the Burg and take part in all the Southern Miss athletics and just support the school as best we can. We have such a love for Southern Miss, and along for our journey back, I ended up finding myself with Kids Hub, Child Advocacy Center, and so I'm the Director of Development for Kids Hub, and mainly what I work with is our fundraising efforts and our donors, and so we do receive some money from federal, state funds that come in, but mainly we're dependent on the local community supporting us in order for our nonprofit to be able to exist and to continue to grow as well. Right. So that is where I am with Kids Hub, and so I work with a lot of different aspects from our donors to businesses, organizations, community awareness, just in general about Kids Hub in our organization.
Right, that's amazing. And what about you?
I am actually a local resident, been here my whole life, and got to go to Ole Miss, sorry about it, for my undergrad program, and did social work, and during that time I actually interned with Kids Hub and just fell in love with it and ended up becoming a full-time employee shortly after. So I work with the teams though. So I work with law enforcement, CPS, our local community mental health providers, and then a medical team that is run through UMMC actually. And so I just provide support for them through the multidisciplinary team facilitation.
Awesome, that's amazing. So Erica, you did mention earlier that you're the Director of Development at Kids Hub Child Advocacy. Excuse me, that's such a hard word to say.
It is.
Center. And you mentioned a little bit about like what you do, but can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so, and just to talk, I guess, a little bit about Kids Hub in general. So we work at the request of law enforcement and CPS. We actually serve 7 counties throughout the Pine Belt. So our reach is very broad. Our main office is here in Hattiesburg, and we have another office in Columbia that our staff will travel to on days as needed by appointments. Right. But basically, when there are cases, when law enforcement or CPS has specific cases involving children, where there are physical abuse allegations, sexual abuse, witness to a violent crime, child death investigation, human and sex trafficking, all of those type things, that would be a reason of why CPS or law enforcement would refer those children to us. Right. And so when they come to Kids Hub, they are coming for a couple of different reasons. We do offer forensic interviews. Okay. And so we will bring the child into a very warm, friendly child environment with toys and snacks, and just a place for them to feel welcome and warm to come in to talk about anything that may have happened. Right. And so we do offer a advocate for that family that will walk them through the process and is there with them not only from when they leave our doors but after as well, to check in and verify, give them resources that are needed, that may be needed, connect with mental health services. But at our center, after they've done their forensic interview, Then we actually provide them a teddy bear, and so they get to pick a teddy bear from our wall. And so we have a lot of support with the local community of providing funds to provide our teddy bears for the children, and they're able to take that bear home with them. So we have a lot of different things that we're able to provide these families as far as support and resources throughout this whole process that they may be going through with law enforcement. And we're able to just put a little bit more loving care and give them that loving care that they may need at the time where law enforcement and CPS are so busy and they have so many cases to work. And so they may not always, have that time to give that extra love and support. And that's really what the Child Advocacy Center is here for, to really help these families, guide them, advocate for the child, provide services, provide resources so that that child, our hope, can get back to being a child as quickly as possible.
Right. That's absolutely wonderful. And it's so beautiful that children have that opportunity to still be a kid.
Yeah.
Because that's so tough nowadays. And it's so amazing that at the end of their visit, they get to bring home a teddy bear that's not just a symbol of them for comfort, but it's a symbol that somebody's out there and watching them and making sure that they're okay.
Yeah,
and
so we actually, part of our mission, we say that we want the child to feel heard, supported, protected, and comforted.
Yeah.
And we feel that we can hit each one of those marks in a different way at our center with that family and with that child. Because not only is it traumatic for the child to have gone through something like that, but it is for the family members or whatever adults are supporting them in their life or their next journey. It's just as traumatic for them as well. So we hope to be that light for that family member also.
Right. That's wonderful. And Lauren, I understand that you're the multidisciplinary team facilitator at Kids Hub. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so we serve 7 counties in the Pine Belt, so there's a lot of different law enforcement, DA's office, CPS, medical teams, and different county kind of specific mental health that we work with. So there's a lot of different personalities that we work with. I'm not the only facilitator. I have a team of some other people. I have a supervisor and then someone else who covers half of the other counties. And so we kind of lean on each other to make sure that families and all of our agencies who we work with are receiving services that they need. There's really this comprehensive, holistic case management going on.
Right.
And like Erica said, we're making sure that kids are getting referred for mental health when that's something that they need. We're making sure that justice, whatever that family's justice looks like, is being succeeded, and really just trying to keep the pulse on the family. Sometimes we have law enforcement come in much later after a case has been done and said, hey, we recognize this family needs another need. Can you have the advocate for that family reach out? Or, there's a lot of different things that happen in these cases. They're really complex. And so we just really try to make sure that everything's going the way that it is. The family feels heard. They're feeling protected through that support of law enforcement and CPS and the criminal justice system, but also through the mental health and medical that we provide, because justice doesn't look the same for every family. And so a lot of times that family just does need a free medical where the kid can know that they're healthy from head to toe, or they need mental health services that's going to provide for the whole family and not just the child. So
that's so wonderful. That's genuinely it's such amazing work that the two of you are doing with Kids Hub, because children are such a special commodity, but also such a special everyone remembers being a kid, or at least you want to try to remember to be a kid. And it's so wonderful that you're providing a space to make sure that these children are okay, because a lot of things go unsaid and a lot of things go unnoticed, and it's such an amazing thing that you guys are facilitators to make sure that these kids will be noticed, and that's such a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
So I understand that you're celebrating 10 years with Kids Hub. Is that correct?
We are, yes. So Kids Hub was started in 2015, and so we are very excited. Something to just add to our excitement this year is we are actually in the process of expanding, and so we have lots of people working in one room, and so we've decided it is time to grow and move. And so in the fall, we actually launched our Bloom Capital campaign, and we were able to raise funds to build out a new space for us. And so in April, we look to move into that space, which will provide us double the amount of square footage than what we're in now. So we're very excited about that. But with that, it'll allow us to expand our mental health program. And so we're very excited about that. So in May, we look to have a grand opening as well as our 10-year celebration. It's really remarkable. Our CEO and founder, Dee Dee Ellis, she actually started Kids Hub just herself, and I think another person that was not paid. And then I think eventually they were able to pay one person, and then now it has grown to we have a team of 16 individuals.
Wow.
You know, it's pretty crazy that the Pine Belt did not have anything like this prior to 2015. Other counties throughout Mississippi had child advocacy centers, but the Pine Belt did not. And so she saw a need and worked with some other child advocacy centers and was able to kind of do research and just hit the ground running. And boy, she has just taken it to new heights. With each year, we continue to grow, expand, to keep improving the way that we're connecting and working with the families and the children and the services that we're able to provide.
Yeah.
And so it's just a wonderful moment to see kind of where we started, you know, all the way to now, and we're serving 7 counties, and we have 2 offices, and we're moving to a larger office and expanding mental health services and just providing so much care and love for these children and these families. So we are very excited about our 10-year celebration. So we hope to have a grand opening with our 10-year celebration kind of tied in, and we'll let y'all know. So hopefully y'all could join us for that.
Hopefully. That would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So I also understand that Child Abuse Prevention Month is in April. Can you tell us about like what Kids Hub is doing with that?
Sure. So we actually, Monday, April 7th, we will be visiting each county that we serve, and we will have the mayor within that community will give a proclamation declaring that April is Child Abuse Prevention Month.
Wow.
We also actually, Kappa Delta at Southern Miss, they are our partner. We are partnered as their philanthropy. And so they do a lot of fundraising throughout the year for us. And one of the things that they do as part of helping us with Child Abuse Prevention Month is they will go out through the Hattiesburg community and plant pinwheels with signs at local area businesses. And so we plan to do that with them. The first Saturday in April, they will go around and put up Child Abuse Prevention Month signs and also put out pinwheels. We will be advertising on our social media about Child Abuse Prevention Month. And then we have a couple of other supporters that are hosting different fundraisers to help raise money during Child Abuse Prevention Month as well. So we'll be planning and attending those events. We have our Power of 100 Women Luncheon. That is a big fundraising campaign where we have 100 women in the Hattiesburg community who have committed to helping raise awareness, spread awareness, fundraise for Kids Hub over the course of a year. And so in April, we have their big celebratory lunch for all the women that have put forth the efforts of sharing the awareness and fundraising for Kids Hub over the past year. And so we are going to be having that on April 3rd. And then we also have a golf tournament. So for the fellas,
fun.
Yeah, if there's anyone out there that would like to play in our golf tournament, we are still taking teams. That'll be at Hattiesburg Country Club on April 17th. And so that's another opportunity for us just to talk to people about Child Abuse Prevention Month. So we are really busy in April. We have a lot of things going on.
Booked and busy, for sure.
Well, that's absolutely wonderful. And all this information it's so powerful, it's so strong, but it's so beautiful at the same time. How can we support Kids Hub?
Sure. So I always tell everyone I have a way for you to support, and it could be all kinds of things. It could be, you know, doing something at our center. It could be a monetary donation. It could be an organization, a church. We love when groups make friendship bracelets for our kids.
Yeah.
We basically, whatever your group or organization or you as an individual have an interest in where your heart lies, we can definitely find a way to plug you in and fit you in.
Okay.
Whether that's in person or virtually. We have a lot of different ways that we can plug our donors in or our volunteers into the organization.
Yeah.
The first step would be just to visit kidshubms.com.
Okay.
And all of our contact info is there. You can reach us by phone or email or an inquiry through the website. And that would be the first step. And then we'll kind of have a conversation to kind of figure out where the best way to connect you in with the organization may be.
Okay, that's amazing. I know that we're running out of time, but is there anything else you want to share with our audience?
One thing just to know that we exist, so that's the main thing. We like to create awareness. A lot of people in Hattiesburg, you may walk up to them and say, have you ever heard of Kids Hub? Mm-hmm. And they'll say, no, I haven't. So just taking that away from today, just knowing that there is a child advocacy center in the Pine Belt, and sharing that with someone that you know, because you never know what difference it could make, whether they may know someone that may need to reach out to us for trauma-focused mental health services. They may have a certain family situation. They may have a question, or like you mentioned with wanting to donate or support us, they may have an organization or a group that says, hey, we want to put on a fundraiser for you. So just, wanting to share that we appreciate the opportunity to spread the awareness that we are a local nonprofit that stays very busy and are always looking to interact with the community, especially the Southern Miss community, and have their support as well.
That's absolutely amazing. Well, thank you so much, Erica Smith and Lauren Street, for coming on today and providing a voice for our Eagles. Coming up, we have Justin Glowacki reporting on Mississippi animal abandonment laws. Check it out.
Mississippi does not explicitly define animal abandonment as a crime, something Joseph Barlow, director of the Jackson County Animal Shelter, sees the impact of firsthand.
You've got a call that a homeowner has found 4 puppies on their property when they got up in the morning that they didn't own and have never seen before, and that's all we know.
By the time animal control arrives, there's rarely a trace who left them behind.
Well, it's the complete anonymity of what happens, the crime. People aren't completely stupid. I mean, what they're doing is choosing times, locales that are really, again, go back to the anonymity.
And even when there is a lead, Mississippi's lack of clear laws makes prosecution difficult.
It's a situation where probably 1 out of 10 cases where you would have any leads to go on who did it. And when you do and you can identify that, you're still not talking about criminal charges, but you're talking about charges in justice court, court date, fines associated with it,
Legal experts say Mississippi is an outlier when it comes to animal protection laws.
Mississippi actually doesn't have any laws explicitly addressing animal abandonment. There are some provisions around animal neglect that may apply depending on the situation, but the laws don't explicitly address abandoning an animal.
The Animal Legal Defense Fund ranks Mississippi 46th in the nation for animal protection laws, citing major gaps in regulation. Advocates say statewide laws defining animal abandonment would help hold pet owners accountable, but until then, shelters and animal control officers are left to deal with the consequences. I'm Justin Glowacki, reporting for the Roy Howard Community Journalism Center.
Thanks for listening to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. Huge thanks to Seb Hodges, our audio engineer, and Meadow Smith, our video engineer, for keeping this bird flying. Big shout out to our assistant producer, Sam Romeo, and our program director, Adeline Fields, as well as our executive producer, Ore Ide, and our GM, Dr. Wilbur Martin. Don't forget to follow SM2 Media on social media. I'm your Tuesday, Thursday show host, Skylar Angus Bark.